So I'm basically gonna jump into it. So I've already knocked on the door because I don't feel like Ethan should follow us around as we go through the knocking on the door as he's new to him. So, all right, guys, I'm Paul.
Hi, Paul. I'm Conrad.
How you doing, Conrad? Stephanie, nice to meet you guys. Beautiful house. How long have you guys lived here for? You just move in or just refinance?
We moved in 3 months ago.
Really? Awesome. How's the neighborhood?
We like the schools. We like the school. That's why we moved here.
It seems it does. When I was driving down the street, it was like peaceful. My last client I went to, I thought I was going to get shot. So I'm appreciative that you guys live here, not there. If that makes any sense. How long have you guys been married for?
6 years.
6 years? I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, 6 years? Any kids?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. How many kids you want?
Well,
And I asked this to mess you guys up, by the way. But I'm always curious to see if you guys are like me and my wife, but we don't know. Like, I just wanted 2.
Conrad is married, though, because he keeps looking at her for the answers left and right.
I know, and he's answering them, so I'm like,
Yes, yes.
Hey, nobody messed up the role play. How many kids you guys?
2.
2? Do you agree with this, Conrad?
yeah, I came from a big family, but yeah,
This is my
we
goal
decided
to
on
you.
2. We decided on 2.
Awesome. I wanted 2. My wife wanted 4, and what happened 4? It's just, that's the way it works out, I guess. In fact, I'll show you guys a picture. Typically, the pictures I've got, they're usually like one's looking this way or one's drooling on themselves, and so we've managed to get one where they don't look like there's something wrong with them. I'll show you guys a picture here. Maybe this will inspire you guys to have 4. I would appreciate it if you did, because it makes me feel better about my situation with 4 girls. It's more of a selfish thing than it is anything else. So those are all the girls. Well, there's one missing because it's in her stomach, which would be weird if you could see her. So yeah, all girls. Well, I know that I spoke to. Did I talk to Stephanie? Was it you on the phone or was it you, Conrad?
It was me.
It was you. Okay. So basically, kind of bring you guys back up to speed. What I do is I do the field underwriting, and so it's pretty simple. There's no blood work, no peen in a cup. I vouch for you guys. I let them know that you guys are both alive, you're both breathing, and you are who you say you are. With that said, most clients that I sit with, they kind of have the same, I guess, concern in mind when they send back this request. And what Stephanie kind of said was about the same thing, to make sure that, when either one of you pass away, that if Conrad, you didn't come home tomorrow, that emotionally with that loss and that devastation going through that, there wouldn't be a financial hardship or a struggle to kind of make up for the loss of income and pay the bills and pay the mortgage. Is that about right? Does that describe you guys for the most part?
Yeah, I'm the primary breadwinner, so we thought that it would make sense that we did something.
So something happens to you. Okay, that's about what I usually hear now. But I'm independent, and what that means is this: you have captive, which captive agent can only help the client with one product, and I've done this for quite a long time, and every situation I found is very unique and different. And so we use well over 10 carriers. They kind of figure out what's the best fit for each client's situation. Like today, I've had quite a few appointments, and sometimes Mutual of Omaha was the best bet for this client's age and health, and sometimes it was a worse fit, and it was Americode, or it was AIG, or it was Gerber, or it was so every carrier is a little bit different as far as what their niche is. So as a field underwriter and being independent, I kind of look at all those guidelines to figure out who's the best fit for you guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah, does this get added to the mortgage?
No, it's something completely separate, which is a blessing. So that way, if you ever refinance, you don't have to worry about losing it, being 6 years older, being in worse of health, and not really being able to protect the family adequately like you wanted to do. So it's something you guys control, and it's independent of that. Now, because every situation is unique and different, so that way I understand your guys' situation. Are you both working?
No, please, just like you.
It's just me.
Just you? Okay. Occupation, Conrad, what do you do for work?
I'm a doctor.
Doctor? Okay. Is it general practitioner or?
Yeah, I'm a radiologist. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Radiologist. As far as monthly income, what do you take home after taxes?
About $10,000 a month.
Okay. Stephanie, are you working? No? So you're the sole provider for Conrad?
I just help in his office.
Okay. I'm sure you do more than that.
Yeah.
She does.
The mortgage is about 300,000, is that about right?
Yeah, I think when we got a home equity loan, so that we didn't have to pay that private mortgage insurance, so, there's another loan of 40,000 on top of it.
Okay, so 340 total? And what's the value of the house?
Value is about 400,000.
400, okay. So you guys have got about 60,000 in equity currently? What's the monthly mortgage payment?
The mortgage payment right now with, I think that includes taxes, doesn't it? Yeah.
In pounds, 2,700? Okay. Are you guys putting anything above, towards the principal directly above the 2,700, or is that?
To make it an even amount, we do 3,000 a month.
Okay, so you go 300 above the actual payment towards principal? Okay, gotcha. 30-year loan, 20-year loan, 15-year loan?
It's a 30-year loan. Yeah.
30-year loan? Okay. As far as medications, health, any kind of cancer, heart disease, stroke, hepatitis, oxygen use, anything like that?
I did get diagnosed with borderline diabetes, so they put me on what's the name of that one, Stephanie?
Metformin?
That's it.
Okay, so metformin.
I should know that I'm a doctor.
What happens? That's why she helps out in the office, Conrad. You do your deal, sure, mind you stuff. Conrad, what's your age?
I'm 38.
38? Let's do it higher because it's very uncommon to have a diabetic under 38.
Okay, yeah.
So you're 47.
47.
Okay. And you were diagnosed with diabetes a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was just actually a couple months ago.
Okay. So we'll put 46. Any kind of complications of diabetes, like insulin use, any kind of like diabetic
No,
coma?
no.
Nothing like that?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to the diabetes, what else are you taking for medications?
Occasionally, I take some Advil for knee pain.
Knee pain? Okay. Any kind of pending surgeries with the knee or anything like that?
No, I just tweaked it. The doctor I saw in where I work gave me that.
Okay, perfect. As far as for you, Stephanie, any kind of medical stuff at all?
No.
Nothing like that? Life insurance, what does that look like for you guys?
I do have a policy right now through work, and it's $100,000.
Okay, work life, anything private that you own or just do the work?
No, just through the work.
Okay. And the way work life coverage works, I got a lot of clients who say, well, Paul, is that good or bad? I filled underwrite so I can do all forms of those different kinds of coverage. It's good because it's very cheap. A lot of times it's free or it's very low cost to increase it. And it's because you're a part of this group. And so we never count it because if you retire, you quit, get fired, go open up your own practitioner, office building or whatever, it's gone. In fact, we had a client that was one of the agents that she sat down with the widow. He had $400,000 through work life insurance, so he kept increasing it because he wanted to make sure his family's taken care of, just like you guys. And he ended up getting, waking up one morning, had a lump on his throat, goes to the doctor, finds out it's cancer. Well, after him taking off time from work and getting the disability, well, that eventually ran out. And when that disability ran out in the 12th month, and his benefits to work ran out, they cut all those. He ended up dying 6 months later, and his wife and 3 girls had no coverage. So it's good protection. So you want to keep it, but it's just that's why most everybody has both. Does that make sense, guys?
Definitely.
What do you guys have in place that would act like life insurance? Like where if you pass, Conrad, Stephanie, you can pull from, like a 401k, mutual funds, stocks,
I got a 401k, yeah.
401k, okay. And if you were to pass away, how much would that draw down on the mortgage? Would that bring it down? Would it wipe it out?
There's about $650,000 in there.
Okay, that's going to be more of your guys' retirement income stream. When you retire, you've self-funded your retirement because you don't have any pensions or anything like that. Is that correct?
Right, that's right.
Okay,
That's for our retirement.
got it. And that's something that's been through the current employer, the entire 650
Yes.
from your current that you're currently working with? Okay. Are you funding, is there any match or anything like that with the 401k?
They do match up to 5%, but I put in 10%.
Okay, so you're putting in like $500 a month and they're putting in $500 a month? And then you're putting 1,000, they're putting 500.
That's right.
Okay, so you're doing 500 above the match?
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay, so looking at your guys' situation, because Conrad is a sole provider, and like I said, every situation is a little different. If Conrad didn't come home tomorrow, didn't wake up tomorrow, the $10,000 in monthly income that you guys have, that would all go away, right? It's all current wages, right? Okay. So that would go away. Stephanie, for you, what would that look like financially? How would that impact you as far as being able to get by and take care of all the bills and everything?
It would be definitely a very hard struggle. I mean, I don't have anything really coming in. I mean, I guess when you're so young.
You'd be screwed?
Yeah, I would be definitely screwed. I'd probably be having to find a job and
Okay.
not knowing what I would be doing, so.
Gotcha. And that's what you guys don't want. Okay.
Right.
I definitely understand. I'm going to go through the different options. My goal is pretty simple. For one, I want to make sure that you guys, as important as it is you got to afford it. And what I mean is, I've done this a long time. I've had clients that say, well, Paul, I used to have this plan. What happened to it? Well, I had to let it go. And so the only plan that makes sense is the one that's there when you die. And that's a plan that you guys can afford until that happens. Is that fair enough? And so I really want to make sure as a full underwriter that's something that you guys can keep because it is the most important thing. Second thing is I want to make sure you guys qualify. It makes no sense to look at things that look good, but they're going to come back and say, oh, because of your diabetes, we're going to change it threefold. That isn't doing, or we're not going to qualify. So
it's all about health.
It's health and age, but I have the guidelines, so I want to make sure to look at a carrier that's got the best shot of qualifying it at the best price. Not something that looks good, but they're going to come back and it's going to be something different. It's kind of like if you guys see commercials on TV, they say, $1 million for $2 a month. And you're like, what? $2 a month?
Looks good.
Yeah, when you freeze it and you read it, it's like based on a 22-year-old female preferred plus. So Conrad would have to, grow boobs and become a woman, and he'd have to go to be 22 years old and never take some. So I mean, it's all the, and it's a base switch. So I feel under I'm not a sales rep, so I can see all that stuff. Does that make sense, guys? So I want to make sure you qualify. Third things that you guys understand it, because at the end of the day, it's the most important thing. When something happens, you want to know what's in place and what you've got. Okay. Once we find a good plan that fits, I can't approve it for the carrier. What we'll do is what I'll help you with is a request for coverage. We fill that out, we send it into the carrier, and in about a week to 3 weeks, they're going to think about it. They're going to come back with an answer. If they say no, you can trust I'll come back out and we can look at either going higher, going lower, adjusting it. If they say if they say yes, we can tweak, adjust it, or we can do something else. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the process. Okay, now for you guys, you said, Conrad, your age is 47?
Yes.
No smoking, right?
No, never smoked.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I don't drink either.
Okay, great. Now, hold on. You don't know what you're taking for diabetes and you don't drink. I like it. Okay, so basically, guys, for your situation, because you're under the age of 50, and your health is good enough to qualify for what's called the return of premium or cashback option, what most clients will do in your situation is they'll structure a plan that covers them for 25 years. So the next, if you look at the next 25 years, if something were to happen and your mortgage is, $340,000, it'll pay off the mortgage. So you don't have to worry about, struggling with the finances or losing the house. At the end of 25 years, though, if you're still alive, all that money that you put into it, it basically worked like a savings account. Every premium you put, it was like putting it into a savings account, because at the end of 25 years, you get it all back tax-free, so you can pay the house off 5 years early and eliminate all that interest that would be compounding and working against you. So you'll be able to get out of that $2,700 a month payment 5 years earlier, right? And at the same time, you'll save, $40,000, $50,000 in interest that you wouldn't be paying in the last 5 years, yet your protection is there the whole time. Does that make sense, guys?
They give you all your money back. You're still, how can they do that?
Well, they're betting on the fact that you're not going to die because they're going to invest in earn interest on it or what have you. So they're hoping you don't die. Because if you die, they pay out a huge check. If you don't, they just give you back everything that you put into it. So their bet is that you don't die. And then that's the importance of having a plan like that. Because guys, less than 2% of term policies ever pay out. So typically the client outlives it. All that premium they put in, it gave them peace of mind, which is what they needed, but it was just a simple, typical insurance plan. When you're under 50 and your health is good, you can structure it where the plan is like an asset, and it's actually helping build your financial blueprint through retirement while protecting your family. Does that make sense?
I don't know, do we get interest on that?
No, you get free protection basically, yeah. It's like putting it into like a savings account.
Still, you can pay the house off 5 years early.
Yeah, and then if you, God forbid, something happens to you.
And the key,
Right, nothing's gonna happen.
yeah, and the key too, guys, that most clients will set it up as is, if we can take what you're already, what's already coming out of your budget and reposition it and strengthen it, then it doesn't really change your guys' budget at all. And so that, I wanna make sure that, like I said, you can always keep it. So the $300 a month that you're putting on top of the mortgage, it's a good concept because you're forward thinking about having an early retirement, a better structured retirement, and not having a lot of interest that works against you. The only problem though is if Conrad doesn't come home, Stephanie, tomorrow, or let's just say in 12 years, now the house is worth $500,000 or $600,000. You only owe $200,000. There's $400,000 in equity there, but you have no income. So when you walk into the bank and say, I need to, figure out how to get this equity out because I need it to survive, this $400,000, they're going to say, well, you have to qualify for the loan, and you won't be able to because his income's not here. And so every week I have at least one client that's a widow, and they say, Paul, my husband, we didn't have, hundreds of thousands in a savings account or a safe, it was in the house. And when he passed, he put all this money trying to pay it off early, and when he died, I couldn't get to none of it, and after 3 months, the bank foreclosed the house, and I lost out on all that equity. So it's a good concept, but it's not protecting. So when you set it up like this, it's going to protect you for the next 25 years. So if you die, it's paid off, it doesn't happen. But if you don't die, you can do exactly what you guys were already intending to do, which is use that money to pay the house off early. Does that make sense? You see how that makes better financial sense?
I like that. Yeah, how much is it gonna be?
So I'll go through the options. So this is how I would suggest looking at it, guys. For one, the mortgage is $340. So we can look at the HMS 125. So it'd be $250,000 in protection, no matter how you die. So if Conrad dies due to any reason, it pays out $250,000. Now, if something happens and it's not an accident, so $250,000. I'm sorry. If something happens and it is an accident, it'll pay out an additional $62,500. So it's going to pay out it'll pay out $312,500. So it's going to get really close to paying off the full mortgage. Does that make sense? Now with mortgage protection, because you're the main provider, Conrad, and if something happens, it's going to be a big drop. It's going to be a full drop of income. A lot of times, what they'll do is do an accidental death. That's an additional, say, $300,000. So if it is an accident, it'll pay out $612,000. So that will pay off the mortgage, and it'll give you income replacement, Stephanie, so you don't have to worry about going out and getting a job the next month. Does that make sense, guys? So they give you a limit. It's basically double your mortgage to be able to qualify without a blood work and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because if that'd probably be somebody texting and driving on the way home from the hospital. So that makes a lot of
So,
sense.
can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so
You said
basically the 50
250
is full coverage. And so this is how a lot of clients will look at it. So Conrad's only 47. The odds of him dying in the next 10 years, and Conrad's a doctor, he would agree, is more likely to be an accident than anything else, right?
Right.
So if something happens in the next 10 years, you guys, it's going to pay out over $600,000. So it'll pay off the mortgage and give you leftover. Now let's just say in 12 years it's not an accident, it's a heart attack. Well, because the mortgage is drawing down, that $340,000 is going down, right? In 10 years you're only going to owe $250,000, less than $250,000. So to still pay off the full mortgage if later down the line it isn't an accident. So it's the most affordable way to protect each other and do it based on blocks of time. What makes the most sense? Does that make you with me?
And if I die in the next few years, then between the work insurance and that $250,000, you'll be all right, Stephanie, right? That'll pay off the whole house.
So I don't know.
Let's take a look at the mortgage. Now, the one thing that typically what our clients will look at is the $300 a month. You guys are already used to paying that on top of your mortgage. It's something that's a part of your budget. In addition to the $300 a month, what do you think is affordable for you guys and sustainable that you can keep each month? Like an extra 200, extra 300? Because you guys are used to the 300 already.
We've got that boat fee that we're still working on getting paid down. So what do you think on that?
On top of the 300?
You do the book, so I don't really,
Well,
you know.
I think that, maybe we can invest about another 150 on top of that.
Well, let's see what we can do with the
Because we're getting all
max.
of our money back, is that what you're saying?
Yes, basically,
I
the
mean,
300 that you guys are already used to,
Okay.
most clients will just reposition because they're already used to it.
Okay.
But if you wanted more protection, like a lot of clients, so I want to make sure, because there's a big drop of income, and you say I can afford $100 a month in addition to what I'm doing, and I want to keep it in that range for you guys. But let me just take a look and see what it would look like to have the max, the 250, and then the 350 accident, or the 300 accidental, so it'll be 600,000 total. Okay. Let's see. You're 47, Conrad?
Yes.
All right. You said you don't, no smoking, no bungee jumping, no racing with the bulls, nothing like that?
I wish.
Jump off the boat.
Let's see here. Okay, so if we looked at the 250 full coverage, which that plan, if it's an accident, it's an additional 25%, so it'd be 312,000. That'd be 258 would be the monthly savings. The 300,000 accidental would be 55 a month would be the monthly savings. So combined, it would be right about 300 and say $13 would be what you'd be saving each month. So you'd be just repositioning what you're already used to paying. It'd be basically the same. Do you guys see how that would make more financial sense?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so we'll see if we can qualify you there. That's the
Sure.
most.
Well, I mean,
Are
we're
we gonna
doing,
get a plan, or
we're
this-
getting all our money back.
But you're already repositioning what you guys have already, what you're already doing. So the budget would stay the same.
How much do we get back?
So at the end of the plan, let's see. So 313 times 12. 25. So you'd get back 93,900. So if something happens and it's an accident, 600,000. If it's not an accident, 250. And if nothing happens, 93,000. So see if they'll qualify there, because that's the most we can do.
25 years, you
Yeah.
said?
And if they say yes, we can always adjust it. So just grab your driver's license, okay, Conrad? Okay, sure. And that's basically how, that's a process, okay?
Do
Now,
I make a payment for this, do I write a check to you today for this?
no, just voided check. And so once I get that, that's the close. So that's me finishing everything up. Now, let's just say he wasn't putting anything on top of his mortgage, right? So that one's, it's a very straightforward, like, you're already paying $300 a month. It's 313. Do you see how that makes more sense? That's like my fourth trial close with that. They're naturally going to say yes, and I say perfect. That's the most we can do. Let's see if they'll say yes there. Grab your driver's license. Now, if he's not doing the $300 a month on top of it, and then what I'm going to say is I'll still put together what I think is the best plan for him. So if it's this plan here and it's $313 a month, I'll say, so this would be my close now. So you're not putting anything extra. I say, so the most we can do that would give you the full mortgage paid off plus more for income replacement if it's an accident, and it's scaled right to cover each block of time, would be $313 a month monthly savings. Now we can't make a decision now, guys, because they still have to underwrite it and decide if it's going to be qualified or not. But if they did qualify and they did say yes, would the $313 a month be sustainable? Or do you want to look at a little bit more, a little bit less, or is that about right?
I don't know, I think that 313
High?
seems high, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's drop it a little bit because I want to make sure that, like I said, it's sustainable. So we take a look.
What do you think that we should adjust?
Well,
I mean, what did you like best about the program and so on?
I liked the cash back.
Okay.
I liked the cash back.
I agree.
So if we look at dropping it to 150 full coverage, and then we do the 300,000 accidental, so it's still 450. If something happened, it'd be actually 460 because you have the 25, so it'd be 460 if it's an accident. That would be 158 and then 55. So the monthly savings would be 213 a month. So you do 213 times 12 times 25. It would be $63,900 would be the savings. So you could take that and pay the house off 5 years early. The monthly savings would be 213. Now again, we can't decide now because they still have to underwrite it and decide if it's going to qualify. If they did say yes with a 213, make more sense, or do you want to look at a little bit more, a little bit less, or is that about where you want to be?
We can swing that.
But if we did that one, could we change our mind to get the 250, or how does that work?
Yeah, we could just do like a secondary, like as I continue to have more kids, I continue to get more coverage. So when you guys do the same thing, I'm sure you'll think the same way, just call me. So grab your driver's license, Connor, we'll see if they'll say yes or no. So that's how they close. Every single time. It's pressure release, no sales pressure, and it's grab your driver's. So when I say we can't make a decision now because we don't know if it qualifies, I'm taking it completely away from it. Does that make sense? And my close ratio is about 90%, and a lot of it is because I'm taking it away. I'm just there to serve them. Did my in-home presentation sound like a presentation, or as if I was just having a conversation with them? Just a conversation with them. And it's the same every single time, but it's just like I'm having a conversation with them. Because in my mind, and that's why it all boils down to the way I see myself going to the client's house. You with me? Like I see myself as not a sales rep, and I don't need their business. And if they give me any crap like, we don't want to get the policy or this and that, it's like I must miscommunicate, guys. It's my fault. And then does that make sense? Because I'm the professional in the client's house. My confidence is there because they sent in a request. I can be confident. The doctor can be confident when he says, let me lift up your shirt. I got to listen to your lungs. I think you got bronchitis. Well, he can be confident saying that. Because he's the one in control. You're the one that wanted to see him. He didn't care to see you. He didn't call you up and like, hey, you should come to the doctor's today. No, you called them up because you're sick. They called you over and want you to come to their house because they've got a problem that they want you to provide a solution for. And so that close is where it's at. We can't make a decision, guys, because I don't know if it'll qualify. But if it does qualify, does that make sense? Was that sustainable, or do you want to look at a little bit more, a little bit less, or is that about where you want to be? Because usually I'll get, I think that's about, we can do that. I think that's about where we want to be. Okay, great. We'll see if they'll say yes there. We can always change it. Grab your driver's license.
Well, what if we say we want to think about it? Because we don't make decisions right now.
Okay, and I'll handle that, but you typically don't get it when you do that because I've taken it away so much. So if I said that and you said, well, I think that'd be okay, but that's kind of how it would come about.
Right.
Because they're going to answer my question. We want to think about it. I say perfect. That's fine. Now, when they say yes, and you guys are when they're qualifying, and you guys are thinking about it, do you think that would be about right, or do you want to look a little bit higher, or a little bit lower? I mean, that's how I overcome to think about it. I don't give it any merit, and you're like, that makes no sense. I know, but typically I close it by just doing that, opposed to like going.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Now,
well, it's hard to catch.
Yeah. So what you're doing is just throwing it back at them and saying we've already agreed.
Well, it's like perfect. Now for you guys, while they go through and underwrite, because they still have to decide if they're going to qualify. Which one do you guys, as you're thinking about, think would make the most sense? Do you think that this would be something that would be sustainable, or you want to look a little higher, or a little bit lower? I mean, I know it makes no sense, but it works. Is all I'm trying to tell you.
So you just repeat that back at.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and this works too all the time. You should use it on anybody. But if you ask somebody like, "What do you think about this?" and they say, "I don't know," and you say, "Well, what if you did know? What would it be?" You get an answer about 100% of the time. I promise you. Just experiment it. You got kids, do it. I don't know. If you got it works for everybody. I called the Rainforest Cafe about 2 months ago to get in there, and she's like, "I can't tell you, sir, how long the wait is." Well, my wife's pregnant, and I don't want to go stand and wait for hour to eat, and I gotta walk a quarter mile to get there, so it's like, I need to know how long the day wait is. You know, I mean, I get your policy, and so she said, I can't tell you, sir. I said, I know it's policy, and you're just doing your job, and I respect that, but if you did know how long the wait is, like, how long would it be if you did know? She's like, it'd be about 45 minutes. I was like, okay, fair enough. I'm just telling you, it works. So you can't, like, if you make it a big deal, it's a big deal. A lot of times we make something, we create the objection, we make the objection. It's not a real objection. She just feels like that's what she needs to say because that's what she's been programmed to say.
So you assume that they can afford something, it's just what can they afford?
Well, when I say, is this, do you think, so I go back, I think that'd be, but we gotta think about it. Well, fair enough, guys, as you guys think about it, do you think this would make sense as far as where it's at? Budget, do you want to look a little bit more, a little bit less, or is this about right? Well, I think that would be about right. Okay, great, we still have to see if it'll qualify, I don't know if it will. But grab your driver's license, we'll see if it's qualified, and you guys can still talk about it. And that's how you overcome your objection.
What about when the husband is so willing, but the wife, she's like, we're not doing that, we're not doing that.
I don't usually get,
But I don't have any money, so why am I arguing? If I'm arguing and I don't have any money, then obviously I'm dumb.
And I can handle that, but the thing is this, the way the in-home presentation is set up, it's to proactively handle objections before they come up. I mean, when I tell you that my in-home presentation typically ends with them just grabbing, it typically does. I don't really get to think about it because it's such a flow. Does that make sense? And it's really just the way I position myself and see myself. So I'm going through that. So as you look at this, that's what I'm hitting as I go through it. The 1 minute goal setting is just what I talked about before you sit with the client, visualizing how important it is, going through that story about a client that's passed, and then visualizing all these other points going well. Like if you read articles or any top performing athlete, they do this. They visualize them being victorious at the end of the game before they actually go play the game. They run it through their mind over and over and over again, so when they go out there and actually do it, it's just basically something that they've already rehearsed over and over and over again. It's easy to take that action and see that same result. Does that make sense? So that's the 1 minute goal setting. And it's rapport. What do you do? This is what I do. I'm a field underwriter, right? The why, this is why most people send it in, is this about describe what you had in mind as well. I'm an independent agent, I'm not captive, what that means, I went through that. Financial inventory is a sheet right here I go through. 3 things accomplished: budget, qualify, and afford. The process, we can't make it, and it's if you pay attention to the words, it's stuff like, what we're going to do once we find a fit is we're going to fill a request for coverage. Not, well guys, if you want to, and if you wish, at a point in time, we can fill out a request for coverage and send it in. And you can say, I don't say it like that. You might say close to that. Like, it's a matter of fact, this is what we're going to do. Why can I do that? They sent in a request. They've asked for help. This is what we're going to do. Then the quoting, and then the closing, and then the strength of the sale, I'll go through now. But does that make sense? It's just going through that flow of everything, and you proactively overcome it.
Don't you think your tonality too, the way you were just
Yeah.
calm in nature and not getting too worked up about anything?
Exactly.
Just kind of
Nothing's a
were
big
going
deal.
through- Right.
What's a big deal is if you happen what it looks like. That's what I make a big deal. If you pay attention to, like when we talked about work life insurance, I said you just have work life insurance. Anything else? The word "just" demeans something. It makes it small. It makes it unimportant. It makes it not a value. And so the things that come up that can cause me to not get it, I demean them. I downplay them. I adjust them. Does that make sense?
The part where you talk about the process of the application and that the carrier, you slip in there that the carrier has to think about it. Can you go over that again, how you
Yeah,
said that?
the reason I do that is because there's nothing to think about here. You fill out a form. I called you on the phone. You booked an appointment. I'm at your house. I didn't ask to be here. There's nothing to think about, but who has to think about it is the underwriters at the company who decide if they want to take your risk. You already want it. I'm here. It's like some people treat their client, it's like as if they're at Walmart on the toilet paper aisle looking at toilet paper, and the customer service rep comes up like, hey, are you thinking about buying toilet paper? Like, no, fool, I was just looking at the different brands. I mean, it's like, as dumb as that sounds, it's what we do. Like with our client, like if you're interested or if you want to start the process today, it's like we're at the toilet paper aisle looking at toilet paper. What do you think we want to buy? Now, sales pressure, the biggest reason you'll have a no-sell is a lack of assumptiveness. So at the very end, that's why I hate to close so much, is when you close it, if you say, now guys, do you want to see if they say yes here? That's sales pressure. If I never say, do you want to see if they say yes? Or do you want to? You don't ask that open-ended question. It's no different if you go to a person on the toilet paper aisle and you say, do you think you want to buy toilet paper today? Even though of course they do, they might say, well, I don't know. Because they're programmed to say they don't know and they want to think about it when anytime sales pressure is presented. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so a lot of times the words that you're using, it's not what they really mean. It's causing a knee-jerk reaction to the way they've been programmed. They just think they need to say that. That's not what they feel like. They don't want to think about it. They want to protect their family. They want to know it's taken care of. They want it done. They want to sleep better tonight. That's what they want.
So we've got to go to the beginning of the appointment. If Steph and I look at the form and we say, oh yeah, I remember filling this out, and I filled out a
I'm
couple
sorry, my
more.
head's already messing me up because look, you guys are really, he's already nicknamed you. It's like, look at Steph. All right, go ahead.
So
mine works.
Steph and I look at that form and we say, oh yeah, I remember filling that out, and we filled out a couple others, didn't we?
Well, I think we should say this at the end. And when he's closing, if we said to
Yeah.
you, well, that looks great, but we have other people that we filled out the form with.
Right.
Can we wait and give you a call and see if your offer's better?
Yeah, and what I would suggest is, guys, and for one, it's smart to know you've got the best plan for your family, because that's all you're doing, is you want to make sure that the plan you've got, it's the best plan to protect each other. And so what I do is I fill underwrite, and so I take that and accomplish that for the client. So I look at all the guidelines and figure out who's best to say yes and the best premium for each client. It's all basic. It is all the same thing. Not anybody can offer anything differently. Now they work for different agencies, so they're going to act as if they can, but it's all the same thing. And I'm sure you guys probably wouldn't want to listen to this all over again the next 3 times. It's all the same stuff. So grab your driver's license. If you guys want to do that, you can. And if anything changes, just let me know. I can switch it for you. But I'm pretty good at what I do, and this would be the best bet. So just grab your driver's license. We'll see if I qualify you guys. So it's just I don't care. And that's the thing. Like I don't buy it. If that makes sense. That's one of the best. One of my tipping point or turning points in the business was I stopped buying this. Sometimes we understand too much. Like, there's certain people like, he said, I don't get why they did that. I don't want to get why they're broke. Like, I don't want to understand it. Because if I understand it, then I might start doing it because I get it too much. I don't want to get how you pay less than $5,000 a week. I don't want to understand how that works. Like, I don't want to get it. Like, I don't want to catch that. So, like, I don't want to get them shopping around. It doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense to me is universally that they want to have the best plan for their family. So what I do is I go broad and then I layer it to where I want to go. So universally we can agree that we want the best thing for their family, right? I don't agree that they should look at 4 other people because I think I'm the best and I've got the best plan for them. So I don't agree with that, but I do agree universally that we should have the best plans for our family. So I agree with them that, and I say, now I layer it to what my thought process, so you can buy into my thought process and act like as if it's your own. Does that make sense? Universally, I agree, but I take that yeah. So I kind of do that for you guys, and I'm sure you would agree. So that's another thing. I'm sure you would agree that you wouldn't want to go through this over the next 4 times the same exact thing. And so let's see if we get you qualified. I'll be the guy that takes care of you guys, and grab your driver's license. I mean, so that's how I do it. Does that make sense? And if they want to keep saying they want to think about it, I will get thrown out of their house. I'm not going to leave until they ask me to leave. Why is that? Because I care about them. I don't need the money. And I say I don't need, now, I did that when I did need the money too. But I really can say now I don't need the money. But I care about the client. And so when your mind, that's why it all starts to found fundamentally where I said, the way you see it, your mind right, because if it's not, they confuse my passion for pressure. Well, it's pressure if I am trying to make the sale because I need it. Because then it's about me. So I'm pressuring them because I need to sell. But if I can get my mind right on the fact that this is the most important thing, if you can trick yourself before you walk in the client's house, and imagine and pretend that you know somehow, in a dream God told you, that in the next 4 weeks, Conrad's going to die in a car accident, how would you proceed then? You would be passionate as all get out to never leave. Because you knew that they were. Now they don't know, but you know. So your job is to relate, connect, and then guide them because you're positive of it. Are you going to get up when they say they want to think about it the third time? The fourth time? I'm not. And if you would, you need to get into a different business because you don't care about people. You ain't going to make no money anyways.
You're just qualifying them instead of them qualifying you.
Yeah. So it's having that thought process so when they want to think about it, I don't give it any merit. They come back and say, no, we really want to think about it. And I said, look, guys, I understand it's going to take them 2 to 3 weeks to prove it. And just let me ask you guys, as far as 3 things that most people want to think about, it's usually, for one budget, they want to think, is that something sustainable? Would you guys, is this about where you want to be as far as affordability, or do you think you want to look a little bit lower? Budget-wise, how does that look?
I still think we can swing that stuff.
The higher one?
The 213.
Okay, so budget's fine. Now, as far as the second thing that most clients kind of go through is is this something that's important for me? Is this something important to have? Would you guys agree that with the Conrad's income and what's going to happen, that this would be something important? The third thing is, do you like and trust me as a guy to help you? Because I would be the person that when something happens, I'm not good at a lot of things, but I've got staff in place, and if something happens, they drop everything they're doing, and they service claims, and we're making sure we're here for your family. Because we take it very, very passionate what we do. Do you guys trust and like me as a person to help you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, it sounds like, all the things that most people kind of go through, it makes sense. Obviously, I think you'd agree, because they still have to fill the underwrite. We can still tweak or adjust if they do say yes. Let's see if they'll come back and say yes here, and we could change it. Grab your driver's license. So that's how I would overcome it again. And I could give you 5 different ones, but I'll keep going, and I'll keep going, and I'll keep going, and I'll keep going. He says, I want to think about it again. I'll hit it another way. Does that make sense? And I'll hit it another way, and I'll hit it another way. I'll draw out like a house, a car, and a family, and I say, look, Conrad, walk me through this. Which one of these is most important, 1 through 3? House, car, family. Family's 1, house 2, car 3. Okay, so I'm at a disconnect. We didn't negotiate on protecting the house and the car, but your family's unprotected. I don't feel good. I don't feel like I can't leave here knowing that if something happens to you, your family. To me, it makes no difference, by the way. I don't need your business. I want to help you guys. But if something happens tomorrow, Stephanie, you have 0 income, but your house and your car is protected, but $10,000 a month that's coming in every month is not going to be there. And so I'm sure you guys would agree. I get you want to kind of go through it. They still have to fill the underwriting, but I'm sure you agree you want the picture knowing that if something happens, Conrad, your wife's taken care of. And Steph, you would probably feel better knowing it's in place. Is that fair enough? Is that fair to say?
We gotta do something.
So Conrad, grab your driver's license. We'll see if we'll qualify, and we can always change from there. And so I'll go back to it again. And I'm just saying I'll keep going until he's like, dude, you got to leave. And I was like, all right, you just got to sign this form saying you don't care about your family. Fair enough? And I leave, and I don't care. I've left it all out there on the table, and I don't feel bad about it. Does that make sense? And that doesn't happen a whole lot because of the way the posture is the entire time. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not going to have time to go through how to strengthen the cell at the end, but we're going to do dial team break. So from 12, that's California time. It's not 12. So from 3:36 to 4:36, we're going to do a dial team. So we got enough room in here to have quite a few. Are you going to be dialing, Conrad?
Yeah.
Conrad's dialing, Ethan's dialing, Brent Vance from Reach of Omaha said he'll dial. Look at him, he's all fired up. So we'll break for now, we'll get back here and we'll wrap up, guys.
So
I got a
just
question.
Ethan, when you're done, too, right?
When you're closing like that, how often does a